I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Christina Martini. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Wonderful. How are you, Angel?
I am excellent. It's a great pleasure to connect with you at this time. Please tell us, what part of the world are you in right now?
I am in Chicago, Illinois, on a very cold but beautiful day.
Well, my friend, we do have in our email stocked a draft email of Caribbean sunshine that we can send your way if necessary.
That would be fantastic. I will be waiting by my mailbox for it.
Well, Christina, do tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time.
It must be the podcast that I started working on several months ago through WGN Radio called Legal Face Off. And I began working on that podcast as a co-host in June of this year.
All right. So tell us more. Tell us what you do there, please.
So this podcast started about 3 years ago, and it is about cutting legal issues. So it crosses politics, entertainment, sports, you name it. Anything that is current events in the area of the law, we talk about.
How does that make... Oh, well, is it like a weekly podcast or a daily podcast?
So we do it twice a month.
Right.
It's every other week. So we capture events of the day, but we also capture what's happened over the past several days, and they tend to be very timely topics. But we also do interviews of various people who are somehow in the legal realm about various issues like death penalty, sexual harassment cases, you name it, we talk about it. If it touches on the law and it's interesting and timely, we will often talk about it on our show.
Mm-hmm. So who did you learn the skill of standing up for what is right from?
I learned it from my parents, actually. So when I look at the fact that I'm a lawyer and I believe in justice and standing up for what is right, I learned that as a child. And my parents actually, when I was 5 years old, started telling me they thought I was going to be a lawyer because I loved asking questions and I loved trying to fight for the underdog and fight for what's right.
Definitely one of the challenges in life is standing your ground. Why will you continue to repeat that skill nevertheless?
Why will I continue to do it? Because it's important. I think that oftentimes we lose sight of why we're doing something in the first place. And we sometimes lose sight of what's important. And sometimes there are people and circumstances that need assistance in some way to defend them, to help them get what they need. And we have the ability to change the world for those people as lawyers. And I feel it's my obligation to do that.
Amazing how that transfers, right? From you being that child doing that to now. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yes, and I feel very fortunate to have had the opportunity to learn from many people, both within my family and outside my family. And I feel the obligation to take what I've learned, both education as well as in life, and to be a role model for people who may not have a role model, who may be dreaming to do something wonderful and aspire for great things, but may not know how to get there. I think it's our responsibility to help those folks and to get them what they need to succeed.
Totally agree. Well, tell us one other thing, Christina, that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
I have meditated consistently over the past 3 years.
How does that make you feel, Tina?
It makes me feel great. I think it's a really important thing to adopt some type of a mindfulness practice, regardless of what you may do for a living. And I think that meditation helps you focus in a way and to clear the noise in your mind so that you can be more effective and more authentic in who you are day to day.
Suggest to someone that's listening why they should do that as well.
So I think it's important for them to do it because of the same reasons that I just mentioned. And I think that if there's more mindfulness in the world, and more mindfulness for people just trying to figure out what they want from life and so forth, by getting that focus, quieting your mind, clearing the clutter, I think that it could be beneficial for a lot of people.
Amazing audience, you're hearing it live here from Christina Martini, aka Tina, right, who is also the co-host of WGN's radio popular show Legal Face Off. Christina, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Christina, what is your
that sounds great.
What is your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest memory is sitting on my dad's shoulders as he was walking down the street. And I was probably about 2 or 3 years old when that happened.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
Because I remember feeling very excited to be sitting so tall after having a frame of reference day in and day out of being a relatively small person at that age, but feeling like I had this ability to see everything, going from being very short to being on top of the world. My father's about 6'2", and I really enjoyed the perspective, and it was very thrilling.
How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today?
I think it really inspired me, and I think about how I've lived my life since I was a young child, and I've always tried to see the world from different frames of reference, and I think I really got that appreciation starting when I was a child, having a family that was very communicative, and whether it was that experience I just shared or just the day-to-day life with my family, I feel like seeing different frames of reference is a really important thing to understand the people around you and to try to motivate change. And I think as an attorney, which I've been doing now for almost 25 years, it's very important to be able to not only see the side of your client, but to understand what other people's points of view are in trying to drive justice.
That's intriguing. Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Absolutely.
Well, I love the idea of you taking the stand from being that 5-year-old back in the day where you stand up, right? And of course, it's wrong English, but you stand up, right?
Right.
But nevertheless, it's really intriguing to understand that for those that you are representing, how you are those shoulders for them, how the tables have turned, right? Where they now are standing on your shoulder to be able to have a point of reference that's different, a paradigm shift, if you would. It's just intriguing to me how those connect. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I really like that visual that you just shared because I never really thought of it that way, that I'm almost like the same person that my father was for me, for all the clients and people I've worked with over the years.
Yeah. And I like the image of you being there and he's walking, right? Because it then connects to you on the radio station and your voice traveling the same way, your message, if you would. So I love that as well.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I love it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. If we fast forwarded to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
My favorite song was a bit of a corny song, Kiss on My List by Hall & Oates.
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, Tina, we have arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Christina?
I am.
Christina, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes, I have.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
I do not.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yes.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
It's more than 8 hours a day.
if you, Christina, had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Christina Martini, what would you say that is?
I would say that it is follow your passion, love your life, always learn and grow, and pay it forward.
Love it. Just like the way Christina paid it forward after her father allowed her to stand on her shoulders, she is doing that for others, and so others can do it for others. That's amazing. Well, Christina, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Yes, two things. First, I would say everybody should look for the opportunity in everything that you experience in life, both good and bad, because it's amazing how you can take the worst of circumstances and even change those lemons into lemonade. And number two, I will have another podcast launching early in 2018. So everybody should stay tuned.
All right. Are you going to tell us the name of that next podcast, or is it going to be a surprise?
It will be a surprise. But
Right.
there is something you said during our conversation, Angel, that actually is the name of my podcast.
All right. There's one thing I wanted to add that slipped me while we were talking. In Trinidad, right, there's a term, right? So yes, you can understand, but some of us say you overstand.
That's great.
So that
Love
image,
it.
yeah, wonderful. Well, Christina, again, great pleasure. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you so much, Angel. It's been an honor and a privilege to join you today.
You're welcome. Thank you. A pleasure I treasure. Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.